Hi, I'm Christopher Warnock of Renaissance Astrology. Today I'm going to give you an update on my sort of state-of-the-art of what I've discovered about Algol and the Warnock methodology of working with Algol. It's really the best and most powerful spiritual protection talisman. I'm also going to talk about our new white agate algol talismans, which you finally have in stock again. So very, very happy to do that. So, you know, Algol really has been kind of a work in progress for me. It's a fixed star, an angel that I've really been doing a deep dive into it. And, I think it really makes sense. I mean, we're living in a dangerous world. I mean, the media tends to overhype things, but nevertheless, we're all surrounded by physical threats. And as we're realizing, there's magical threats as well. And so I do think it really makes sense to take precautions, particularly in a situation where you know you've got a live active threat, like a magic user or something like that. But also, I think it makes sense to take precautions against unknown threats as long as you don't let your paranoia run away with you. So one of the things I think is important is to recognize with protection magic, but with any kind of magic and talismans, is that they're not effective all by themselves. But nevertheless, magic is a very useful adjunct to practical steps, and we're going to talk a little bit about that some more. So one of the great things about medieval Renaissance astrology and astrological magic is that we have this incredibly wide set of options. And when we take a look at protection talismans, really the key to protection talismans are the fixed stars. If you look at Hermes on the 15 fixed stars, that's our key traditional source. It's got an incredible number of great talismans for protection from witchcraft, from curses, from demons, from evil spirits, from enemies, on and on and on. Incredible talismans. Now, when you look at planets, not so much. It's not to say that they may not have that effect, but they're not specifically mentioned in our traditional sources. So, when people come to me and they say, hey, I want a protection talisman, I'm really going to be pointing them at the fixed stars. The other advantage is the fixed stars are almost always compatible with people's charts. There's really very rarely the contraindications. So I'm really happy about fixed stars. And, I got so much enthusiasm for fixed stars. At Renaissance Astrology, we have the talismans of every single of the fixed stars, of the Hermes and the 15 fixed stars for protection. So whether you're talking about Antares or Vega or Alkide, we've got all those talismans, Procyon, but our most famous, and probably the most powerful talisman, definitely the most powerful spiritual protection talisman is Algol. Now, there's a lot of misinformation and fear out there about Algol, and I've talked about this before. And part of it is people just like to freak out on stuff, and they like to freak other people out. They don't understand. And also the fact that Algol, when we're talking about a predictive setting, if you're talking about a horary chart or a natal chart, it definitely gives them a malefic indication. However, when you switch to talismans, the picture changes, okay? And this is where people miss out. They think things are 100% good or 100% bad. Algol, like I said, malefic prediction, but a really very useful talisman for spiritual protection. And all that energy, all that negativity is expressed outwardly against your enemies. Okay, they're the ones that are having the problems with Algol, not you in a talismanic setting. But nevertheless, you don't. I'm not really making a sell job on Algol. It's not something I'm trying to, to convince anybody of. Check it out. If it resonates with you, great. If you're not, you'll say, well, I don't know about Algol. We've got lots of other fixed star protection talismans. You're going to be able to find one that fits you, that you feel comfortable with, and will give you the level of spiritual protection that you want. So Algol, like I said, I've gotten heavily into Algol, done an incredible deep dive. I'm really very, focused on Algol and really devoted to Algol. And one of the things that I've learned is this black and white Algol manifestation. Now, it's not unusual for angels, the divas or whatever, the divine, to manifest in various types of manifestations. It's actually pretty normal, like say in a Buddhist Hindu context. It happens all the time. Now, the black and white Algol, this, you can see the video link there, and also I got a whole page on it. Basically, black and white Algol are sort of two different faces of Algol. The black Algol is the absolute most powerful. If you're looking for the most powerful spiritual protection and protection against curses and enemies, black Algol is the way to go. This is the most aggressive. And part of that aggression is basically it'll mirror and throw back anything that's thrown at you, they'll throw back. Now, it's not going to go out and curse people. It's not going to go mess them up. But Algol, if your cause is just, will go out and actively neutralize your enemies. So let me just give you an example, and we have specific black agate algol talismans. You can see them there. It's a beautiful sterling silver setting, black agate, and then the Medusa head. Now, this interesting thing with the Medusa head, this was used widely throughout the classical world, both in the Greek and the Romans, as a protective talisman. So the Medusa itself, even without the association with Algol, which very closely goes together, is a protection talisman. When you marry it up with Algol, and in the black Algol format, this is our most powerful protection talisman. So now the next manifestation of Algol is the white Algol. Okay, so this is not aggressive. This has a shielding function. Okay, it's basically like armor. And one of the other qualities of it is invisibility. Which I'm going to talk a little bit about that later. But let me just show you the white agate Algol. And these are, again, gorgeous, sterling silver setting. You can see the white agate, and then you can see the head of the Medusa there in white on the white agate Algol talisman. Now, these are talismans that we've been out of stock for a while. I mean, we can only make the agates. We tend to have way less of those in the bronze. And Algol is a super popular talisman. We sold out of those. We haven't had them for a while. So again, July 2024, if you're checking out too long after that, we're probably sold out again. But hey, if you just see this video, it just came out, check out those white agate Algol talismans. Again, we're really happy to have them back in stock again. Now, then our third option for Algol is a bronze Algol. And again, you can see it's got the head of the Medusa on it. Classic Algol image. This one actually has stuff on the back. The others do too. They got the sigil of Algol and the purposes. And the bronze Algol can be used either for white Algol or black Algol, depending on how you want to, whatever your desire is in terms of the protection you're going to get. And what you do with that is that you would have, for black Algol, you say black altar cloth, but definitely use black candles. White Algol, use white altar cloth and white candles. And then in the consecration, your requests are going to be different. For black Algol, you can ask for justice, you can ask for neutralization, you can ask for that mirroring effect. White agate Algol, you're just going to ask for shielding and protection and visibility. And what I do, like I said, I do white agate Algol. White Algol, and I do it with a bronze. I actually have a bronze Algol talisman that I just fumigate. I move it through the smoke of the incense. So I have white candles. That's what I always use for everything. So I light a white candle, light the incense. I use Japanese stick incense. And then I just move the talisman through the smoke. And then I do a very, very short invocation. Essentially asking for my family, my home to be protected. I kind of list off the things I'm asking to be protected from, and I ask to be invisible to my enemies. So when the talismans are first made, they're consecrated. This is an absolutely key part of the creation of talisman. It has to be made at the elected time, take on its final form, and you want to consecrate it at that time to bring the spirit into it and to start up the capacity to make that connection. When you get the talisman, then you're going to do an initial consecration. And that introduces you to the spirit of the talisman, to the angel, starts developing that relationship. And then you want to kind of do it regularly. And people ask me, how often do I have to do it? You don't have to do anything. It's a friendship, okay? So if you have a friend and you never see them, you're not going to have a very strong friendship with them. You don't have to see them every 15 minutes or call them up constantly or text them all the time. That may be counterproductive. But you would like to see them regularly. Help build that relationship. Because to me, and again, from my devotional approach, the magic is not coming from some, like a battery that you're charging up the talisman with. That's fine if people want to think about it that way. For me, it is a means of connection with the angel. You've got like their cell phone number. You can call them up. You can keep that relationship strong, and the power is coming directly from that angel. So what I've been doing, again, to kind of update you on my thing, I've been doing a daily consecration of Algol. Now, I think for most people that would be overkill. It would be impractical. For the individual consecrations of talismans, what we're doing is, rather than doing a full chart election, we're just having this fixed star with Algol or whatever you're working with rising or culminating. So what you need to be able to do is, there's not software for this. What you need to be able to do is figure out when a specific degree is on the ascendant or the midheaven, rising or culminating. For Algol, that would be 26 Taurus. That's where Algol is. Now, if you know how to do that, then you can figure out the timing. Now, the other problem is that it's changing. It's going 3 minutes to 5 minutes a day earlier every single day. So it's moving through the whole day. And I've been doing Algol culminating. It's like around 9 o'clock. This is July 2024. and it's going to get to a point where it's too early, and yet the rising is also too early. So I have to be getting up at 3 o'clock in the morning. That's beyond what I'm willing to do every single day. So what I think I'm going to do is probably do Algol on the descendant. And that's going to be my workaround during the period when the rising and culminating are not usable. And I did an I Ching for it. I got a good divination for it, so I think that's appropriate. But we do that. We do a consecration at elected time, again, to be respectful, to line up with orient ourselves with the fixed star. Like any other astrological talisman, we want to have an appropriate astrological timing. But I don't personally get into worrying about every single other factor. And if the more factors you try to elect for, the less often you're going to be able to do the consecration. You're not going to be able to have some perfect, multi-chart factor election every single day if you're doing a daily consecration. Okay, so I just go by rising or culminating. Again, it's up to you. If you got to have a perfect election to do the consecration, you're going to have to wait however long it takes you to get whatever you consider to be a perfect election. That's up to you how you want to do it. For me, though, like I said, for the daily stuff, and that's how I do it. Now, I wouldn't necessarily recommend the daily consecration, like I said, because of the difficulty of figuring it out. Also, I think it might feed into somebody's a little bit OCD about it. And if you stopped, you're going to get so freaked out about stopping, you worry about that, or if you start missing or something like that. So what I realize is an excellent way to go about this is what I call the Algol Blitz. Now, the Algol Blitz would be 7 days in a row, like for a week, and then once a week for 3 weeks for a total of 10. And so you can see the link there for it. So for $150, I'll do all those elections for you, 10 different elections. And then you are able to carry on this very intense vowed practice. And the vowed practice really, again, the impetus for this, the inspiration for that was from Planetary Charity. Because for Planetary Charity, what you do is you make a vow to do that planetary charity at the appropriate time for the planet, for a set number of times. So you're not continuously doing it, but you're doing this intense focus practice. You do the vow, you fulfill that vow, and that's a great way to deepen your relationship with the angel of the talisman. Now, what I would say about that is, having made the promise to do it, you don't just want to walk away from it, and blow it off. It's like a friend. If you told your friend, I'm going to come visit you, you don't just blow it off. Now, the friend is not going to go into a frenzy and attack you because you didn't show up. So again, you don't have to worry about that with the angel. It's somehow some terrible consequences from breaking your vow. But you're not accomplishing your purpose, which is to show respect and to deepen the relationship. You're probably kind of irritating them a little bit, even though they're not going to. Again, these are angelic beings, and you're not going to suffer some kind of terrible blowback from them. And again, that's why I like doing with the angels. Like, they're not necessarily going to give you what you want instantaneously, or they're not going to promise it like a demon would, but you don't have the blowback that you'd think with malefic beings. So again, something I really like about it. But what I would say about that is, check out that Algol Blitz if it interests you. It's worthwhile to do it. But otherwise, you want to do regular consecrations at your discretion. Keep that relationship strong. Now, one of the things I was talking about, in the beginning here, without being practical about this, is that, sort of like practical ways of dealing with enemies. And the most practical way of dealing with enemies is don't have them at all. Now, you say, well, that's easy to say, about this person who's terrible. But you can, try to live your life in such a way. I mean, for example, I never get into any confrontations publicly on the internet. I don't post political stuff. I don't go into problems with people. If someone disagrees with my approach, I'm like, fine with that. It's cool. You have your way, I have my way. Much more peaceful. Don't get yourself into any problems. Now, again, if I have a video about sort of dealing with conflict, and it talks about protection. But the other thing that mentions there is, like I said, and it may not be appropriate. You may be in a situation where there's somebody you can't make peace with, you're never going to be able to get along with. But, particularly like if you're talking about a family member, something like that, ultimately you would like to have the peace relationship with them. So and as opposed to a protection talisman, you might consider getting a peace talisman like Sirius or Andromeda, and provide links to those talismans. Now, another interesting thing that you can do in terms of this is to sort of like, rather than being into the push back, and even a shielding approach is somewhat of a push back, is an invisibility approach. And so that's what I do. I'm asking to be shielded primarily from Algol, but I'm also asking to be invisible to enemies or anyone that do us harm. So I think that's also, you think about a Cazimi moon, Invisibility Talisman. That's also another approach that you might want to take, but it's also something you can integrate into your Algol practice or any fixed star talisman practice to say, hey, make in my family or whoever I'm trying to protect, because you can ask for other people in your household to be protected, um, make us invisible. So, and that's also true in your day-to-day life. Don't appear to be a threat, and don't appear to be a prey either. Don't be a predator and don't be prey. Camouflage, blend into the background, cause as little trouble as possible. Don't get into confrontations with people. Certainly don't get into magical wars with people and then expect that the talismans are going to help you, save you from that all the blowback from it. Stay out as much as possible. And like I said, what I'm typically doing with the Algol talisman is I'm basically looking to deal with the background stuff, like, the constant negativity and stuff that comes up. The problems. I have a certain amount of presence on the internet, and so while I don't get into big fights with people or wars, I don't think I have any known enemies. I know from my chart I have a bunch of secret enemies, and so that's what I feel comfortable with. With Algol is always kind of looking out for me, putting that shield around me, making me invisible at the same time as I'm doing the best I can to kind of have a peaceful relationship with everybody I can. Anyone that I have problems with, work things out, and stay under the radar, not cause trouble, and just kind of do my own thing. So I think that's really exciting. I hope you will check out the new white agate algol as well as our black agate and the bronze agate algols. Great talismans. I'm really happy to offer them. I have lots of people who give good feedback. If you're not, thinking algol is the thing for you, check out our other protection talismans, as I said, as well as the love, peace, and the invisibility talisman. So we have what's amazing, I think, about traditional astrological magic is we have such a full toolkit. And we can come into this and we can say, look at all the multifaceted ways we can deal with our situation, all the ways we can improve things, and use talismans as part of our overall strategy for problem solving. And I think that that's really people are the happiest with that. If you have an open mind, if you don't say, oh, I want specific effect from it, the more specific effect you're looking for magic, I think the less likely you are you have it. But if you have an open mind, if you're willing to be open to the talisman, to be transformed by it, to let it work its magic on you, as well as expecting it to change the outside world, I think you're going to have the best effects. So again, check those out. And as always, if you're interested in getting a Renaissance Astrology Talisman, you can contact me. My contact link is there. Send your birth date, and you can ask if a particular talisman is or planet or whatever is compatible with your chart, and also get suggestions. So always happy to introduce people to talismans, and I'm really happy to be spreading these and giving that respect and devotion to all the fixed stars and planets and all the astrological factors, but in particular to Algol. So I hope they find it interesting, and I look forward to doing more videos and explaining my work in progress with Algol.